Seriously, you can't afford this CD player. Well, maybe you can, but only when you've achieved your perfect speakers and your nearly perfect listening room. Listening rooms, as we know, are never perfect. Oh, and you have 1,749 Great British pounds, or the equivalent, to spare. That's the price I see today from Henley Audio, link in the description, who have helped me with this review. OK, this is a lot to pay for a CD player, particularly when 150 quid or so will get you a player that will play your Dark Side of the Moon quite nicely. But 1,749 UK pounds, it will get you the Pro-Ject Audio Systems CD Box RS2 Tube. Box? Let's open the box. Pro-Ject Audio Systems, which you will sometimes hear as Pro-Ject Audio Systems, is an audio manufacturer with a vast range of equipment including turntables, tone arms, cartridges, DACs, amps, speakers, and of course, CD players. Oh, and vinyl too. This will cost you a fairly reasonable €15.90 plus shipping. Anyway, that's vinyl. Today we leap forward from the 1940s into the 1980s. With CD. So I said Pro-Ject has a vast range. You can have a turntable for around £250, £300, euros, dollars, whatever, or a possibly rather better one for, well, I'd rather not go there. In the middle, if you consider 1749 GBP a middle of any sort, sits the CD Box RS2 Tube CD player in the RS range, reference series I think, that also has a preamp, DAC, phono preamp, headphone amp, other stuff, all quite pricey. Oh yes, $1,000 or nearly $1,000 interconnects. So I think we probably know where we are now, audiophile territory. Before I come on to what this CD player does and what it will do for you, I have to comment on just how lovely the CD Box RS2 Tube is. It's a nice thing, a very nice thing. If you've watched my videos, you'll know that I like practicality along with affordability. I'm not any kind of rich audiophile, but I'm happy that I can have equipment that does the job well enough for my old ears, and it doesn't cost too much. But also, I have an admiration for nice things, even if I can't justify having them myself. Going back a few years, I admired my neighbour's Ferrari. I only saw it once, though. He kept it in his garage and never took it out. Well, once, onto his driveway. As for me and nice things, I have a Parker 51 pen. It's lovely, and it wasn't too costly from eBay. But I'm just saying that to have a nice thing can be an end in itself. If, of course, it performs well. Like I'm sure my neighbour's Ferrari does, and my Parker 51 will. Once I've paid maybe up to £100 for the major service it needs. So, the Pro-Ject CD Box RS2 Tube. I'm pretty sure that you will not be disappointed with its look, its feel, its quality of construction, and all-round visual and tactile excellence. Cheaper CD players may have as good a performance as you need, but if you have the money, and as I said, you already have great speakers, the CD Box RS2 Tube CD player will, I'm sure, give you pride of ownership. It's a nice thing. Okay, let's take a quick look at the remote. I often skip talking about the remotes for review equipment because, hey, we all know what a remote is, and we already have too many of them. I have 7 in my living room. But this one is definitely in a class of its own. And again, it's a nice thing in its own right, and not just a repurposed generic remote from the remote factory in China, which I'm sure there is one. Don't lose the key to open it when you need to change the battery. It isn't a hex. Probably a Torx, but then standard, plus, tamper-resistant. Just don't lose it. If a piece of equipment is quite costly, one might expect it to do a lot. Or one might expect it to have a sense of refined elegance and do just what it needs to do and do it well. So, how many proverbial bells and whistles do you need on a CD player? Possibly none. Just the stuff that does the job. And so we have a lever switch, toggle switch if you prefer, for power on, which makes me think it actually does turn the power on and off, and not just take the unit out of standby. A large display that is colour, though most operations are black and white. And controls. Controls! Play, pause, stop, next track, previous track, combined with fast forward and rewind. I'm kind of getting excited that this is standard CD stuff. Exactly what you need and no more. Nothing to mess around with, just play the CD. The remote does add a few things: shuffle, repeat, screen brightness, black on white, white on black, and direct access to tracks. There's a mute button that works with other Pro-Ject boxes, but since I don't have any, I'll skip on that. Now, the back. XLR and RCA analog outputs, optical and coaxial digital. So, with the digital outputs, you can use it as a transport. Which brings me to the tubes, or valves, as grizzled old geezers in the UK call them. If I'm being honest, it was the tubes that attracted me to this player. I've reviewed a few CD players and they've all been very nice. But at this point, I'm ready for something different. A CD player with tubes? If someone had suggested tubes on a CD player back in the 1980s, people would have said they're mad. I'll come back to the tubes in a bit. I think you already know what's going to happen here, but I'm going to show you anyway, because I can, because I want to, and because I think you want me to as well. So, the Pro-Ject CD Box RS2 Tube CD player is a top loader. Or maybe I should call it a teapot lid loader. English breakfast, please. Or as we say in England, tea. Top loading has its charms and quirks. Its advantage over slot loading is that the only risk of damaging the disc is your own clumsy handling. Over tray loading, well, do you want to feel that you're putting a ROM disc into a computer when you're settling down to listen to Mahler's Fifth? I could possibly say that I prefer a hinged lid like the original Philips CD100 from 1983, but as I said, the teapot lid has a kind of charm. So here, to play a CD, you remove the lid and the magnetic puck inside that clamps the CD in place. Don't lose it! The player will play without it, but it makes grinding noises which, in other aspects of life, would cause you to pull in and call recovery. Not a fault, just don't lose the puck. Oh, sorry, it's a CD anti-resonance clamp, aluminium alloy by Pro-Ject Audio Systems. It says that. And then you press play. Lovely, gapless, dark side of the moon, all the way from beginning to end. The classic question to which I always say that I can't give you a reliable answer due to the age and general decrepitude of my ears: how does it sound? But if I hear any problems, then I'll certainly tell you. Well, no problems, just excellent auditory enjoyment, which shows in the specs. Frequency response 20 Hz to 20 kHz plus or minus 0.2 dB. Distortion on the analog output less than 0.008%. For the digital output, add another 0 at 1 kHz. I often wish we could get distortion specs at other frequencies, but there we are. Noise, minus 85 dB. Channel separation, 104 dB at 10 kHz. Okay, what can we learn here? Well, the distortion from the digital output at 0.0008%. If the player is reading the digits from the CD, why would there be any distortion at all? I feel that this is a question that could benefit from an answer. I just don't know the answer myself. But come on, who's going to hear it anyway? And the noise? minus 85 dB A-weighted. Weren't we led to believe that digital audio would give us 6 or 6.02 dB per bit, which is more like 96 or slightly more with ideal dither? And A-weighting can nudge the figure higher than that. Well, friends, this is the real world, and wait for it, this is what you bought this player for, the tube sound. Noise, thermal noise, shot noise, flicker noise, lovely, lovely noise, and distortion. But I don't think you'll get much joy out of a figure as low as 0.008. It may sound odd, but I'm going to put this noise and a tiny bit of distortion in the category of a nice thing. You didn't want an ordinary player or a cheap player, you wanted a nice player you could enjoy and be proud of. Of course, opinions will vary. Commenters vary at will. This may surprise you, but I read all of the comments on my videos. Well, maybe not all of the very long ones, for which a little TLDR might have helped. And often what I see is that a commenter will complain about something that the review item isn't. They're not complaining about what it is, but what they think it should be. So I'm going to preempt this by saying that this is a CD player. It isn't a DAC, and it isn't a headphone amp. It doesn't have a headphone output. But then if it did, it would need a volume control, and suddenly we're getting into an area where this CD player is not. It's a CD player. You'll need an amp or a DAC. That's how things are. And of course the Pro-Ject RS range will help you out with that. The only real issue, and it's an issue that I bang on about time and time again, is that the manual isn't adequate. Or at least, shall I say, it's barely adequate. It's thin. No photographs, no colour, and I need my +3 reading glasses to make any sense out of the tiny, tiny print. It's adequate, but the player itself is an item of considerable quality, and the manual really should be plush. Oh, and there's an error in it. I'll let the manual writers at Pro-Ject put on their extra strong reading glasses to find out. It's not important, but it's there. If that's the real issue, and part of that's me because I review so many pieces of equipment where the manual could be better, I'll point out what is an issue for some, not for others. The external power supply. I prefer just to plug the mains straight in. Others will say that it's best to keep all that nasty mains electricity well away from the audio. Take your pick. Oh, I don't like. I do like. Call me a moaner, if you like. One more. Tell me that this isn't ugly. And now the £1,749 question. Would I buy it? Well, the funny thing is that I've already put myself in the category of yes. I have speakers that I like already, so it's not taking anything out of that budget, which is important. But it's still a lot of money, and maybe I should spend it on something else, outside of audio. But should my lottery ticket come up, which would be unusual because I don't buy one, but if it did, then yes, I'd be happy to own this player. But I think I should leave it to commenters to tell us all what their decision might be. Okay, this is what you've been waiting for. Or maybe you skipped all my rantings and moanings to get here super quick. I have to tell you that you're not going to learn anything because there's an analog to digital converter and there's your DAC at home in the way. But come on, I can't not play you something with this really very nice thing. I can't play anything copyright, so I have a recording I made in London's Royal Festival Hall in 1995. It's, hang on, do I dare attempt Argentinian Spanish pronunciation? It's
Ariel Ramírez. Ariel Ramírez. Es re fácil.
Ariel Ramírez trying my best and his orchestra. I really can't remember anything other than the artist, the venue, and that I recorded it to DAT tape. Oh, and I remember not being paid to attend the rehearsal, so my mic setup was a bit of a guesswork. I transferred it to CDR 25 years or so ago. So yes, it's an old disc, and it's not even a proper Red Book CD. Will it play? I'll give you a few minutes. Well, I enjoyed that. I hope you did too. But there's something else you want to hear. Gapless playback. And what's the most famous example of a gapless CD? Dark Side of the Moon, of course. Now, I'm going to get into all kinds of trouble here, so the clip's going to have to be really short, or I'll get content ID'd, and all my ad money will go to Pink Floyd. All of it. So, 2 seconds is all you get. Here we go. So there we are, a very nice CD player, and I think I've made a good attempt at Argentine Spanish pronunciation. See you soon.
Não sei o que é tão difícil para ele. No último vídeo, tudo o que ele teve que dizer foi Carlos Barbosa Lima e Guadêncio Tiago de Melo.
Coincido. Ariel Ramírez. Sale de la lengua como si nada.
Ouvi dizer que ele está fazendo uma playlist no Spotify. João Gilberto, Caetano Veloso, Hermeto Pascoal, Chico Buarque.
Astor Piazzolla, Charly García, León Cordero, Mercedes Sosa. Diviértanse con
isso,
esto,
cara
tipo
inglês. Ha 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 ha.